Danielle?
Yeah, this is for Brent. Do you have a rebuttal to Ernesto's about people not getting the fast response? We lived here for 18 years and we've gotten fast responses, like power goes out, transformers blown outside of our office. The village, and then when we went to bury my mother-in-law, and we didn't have water or electricity for a good chunk of the day, and the village was out there in like 20 below weather, fixing out everything.
So, I mean, we got a good staff of people that work in the public works. As soon as something happens, everybody's on the phone trying to get where they need to be. I don't know if it was when I was talking to you guys, but I was out talking to a customer or a citizen, during this campaigning process. I said, I've lived in Genoa, like in town, for the last 15 years, 12 years, 15, somewhere around there. I can remember the power going out one time for more than 5 minutes, and that was the night of the tornado in Lake Township. I know I've talked to Kevin Glad, who's our former administrator. He explained it to us how, we are set up, our power comes, it's Village of Genoa power, but it comes on Toledo Edison lines. And we got it all meandered, or I don't know how they did it, but if one power line goes down, it goes another way, and right back on the other. And I don't know how they do it, because I'm not an electrical guy. But it's amazing how that stuff works. And I said, I've been around talking to people. I've been asking them, what issues do you have in town? And there've been a few. And, I've talked to them and said, hey, we're going to look into this for you, see what we can do. But I'd say a good majority are very happy with the way things are going.
Yeah, we lived in town, as I said, for almost 18 years. There's been times the power's gone out 2, 3, 4 hours.
It's an emergency, and that's great. They should jump on that right away. We're talking about every little thing that happens out there. We can't fix everything. We know that. We don't have the money for that. But at least talk to the people and say we can't or we will. Get it done. That's what their complaint is. They don't get heard for those little issues. Okay?
I think this gentleman had a question.
Okay.
This first instance. I heard you talk about all the roads and alleys you're fixing. I've lived already in the town, I've never done nothing on my road.
So are you still on Wilbur?
Wilson.
Wilson, okay.
Wood Street.
Wait,
The last
I
time
can
we did,
remember when I took your kids back to the house all
yeah, I'll forget what I'm living at though. The last time we did anything, they did anything to my street is when Tom Perry was mayor.
Okay, so I was probably.
And then they put a bicycle path in.
So we have a plan. We have a pile
I mean,
of
we're doing
money
the
every
alleys,
year.
but what about our streets?
We have a pile of money every year, and next year we've already approved our paving plan for next year, which is Main Street and Washington Street south of 163.
Matter of fact, they don't do a whole lot on our side of town.
So
I don't know why.
That
We got an alley like last time they paved it that wide.
so I said we got a plan. We got a pot of money every year set aside. We'll definitely
Right.
take
We
your
don't have no
into
sewer lines.
consideration.
The first, closest hydrant is 2 blocks away. Stuff like that. I mean, we pay taxes too.
Sure, yeah. I mean, we want to make the whole village look good.
Right.
I think over a course of time, but I'll definitely take that because if it's been Tom Perry, I mean, I remember
years ago
when I was probably in high school.
18 years ago,
Yeah, that's the last time they done anything to our road.
So
Go ahead,
yeah.
Gail?
Okay, first of all, I want to commend the current council and past, when you were there, and our past mayor and current village administrator, because the amount of grants and whatnot that were done, it has been really, really great, and I want to see that continued improvement. As a business owner in town, I want a nice town for people to come to. My other thing that I feel like needs to be said is part of what Ernesto may have been talking about, and I see my neighbors are here as well. There was something we just moved back to. We have been in Genoa since 2007, but we just moved back. And there was something that nobody knew was going on, and it was kind of what we feel a little bit sneaky in how things were passed through. And it was quick. I know it's been going on since July, but it's only October, end of October, and it was quick. So there are some of us in the neighborhood that were kind of like, oh geez, what is this? And we have a very good property tax basis for Genoa in our subdivision in Castle Ridge. And so we are a little bit sensitive to what is going on and what are the talks. And we were hoping to attend the last meeting, but nothing was uploaded from the October 2nd meeting. Prior to that meeting, which I understand it hadn't been approved yet, I understand how the process works. I'm the chamber president, I understand how that works. But at the same time, we just as neighbors, I don't know, Sunday, Monday, got into our mail and just found out like specific details, but there was already a lot of this going on because we live in a small town and that's what happens. So I guess it's just a little bit disheartening in that way. So I think that maybe, I've talked with both of you. I have known Brent for, 15 years, maybe our kids are about 15 years old. And I've recently gotten to know Ernesto through being involved in Genoa, and he's been on some committees that I am as well. So we talked to both of them, so that we could get a good glimpse, not just, well, we've been friends with Brent for 15 years. So those are some of the things I feel like maybe he was talking about, that other people wouldn't know if they live right in town here, so.
And I couldn't talk much more, you only got 5 minutes. So.
Right, no, you're totally fine. I just felt like some of those questions were kind of coming back at you, and I felt as a resident of that neighborhood, we should probably speak up and
you know,
say
I
that.
said one of the saddest things for me as a council member and, you know, now the mayor, is the attendance at a council meeting. You know, it's first and third Monday of every month, and, you know, we're lucky to get 1, 2, 3 people there. All right, when I've been out talking to people, I say, hey, if you got concerns, come to a meeting, come, give me a call, you know, stop in. You know, I don't know if people are afraid to come to a council meeting, you don't know, you know, sometimes it's tough to stand
I
up and
think it
speak
can be a little bit
in a public,
intimidating to some people, I mean.
public presence. But, you know, as far as, you know, the stuff that's going on, I mean, we've been having meetings for a long time. The planning commission started this back in 2021. And then they're working off stuff that was approved back in the 90s. Where we're at right now with that, we're at a point where, you know, we had a gentleman, you know, annex into the village. Basically, that's a spot where, okay, something may happen. Not saying there's nothing that I am aware of that's going to happen within the next, you know, year or anything. There's nothing on the table. But just like over in Lake Township, Troy Township, those are once old farm fields too. And their representatives, their council, their trustees had to do stuff to make that property ready for when investment wanted to come in. Right now, basically, that's all we're doing.
And I totally get that and respect that, and Genoa needs something because, like I've said before, that the taxpayers, us people, cannot keep being taxed. And I mean, we just, like, there's only so much money that, you know, we can make or we have. And so we do need something bigger that can help with our schools and our tax dollars and other things that, I mean, I get it. We see it all over around us. So I'm not completely against it. I just want to be more in the know of what's going
That's what I
on
wanna say,
across from my
yes.
neighborhood.
Correct, and we don't need to find out tonight's meeting that there's rumors
No.
out there going on. If you start one, it gets bigger and bigger. All the people wanna know is what's going on. That we can come together and let's decide something, or let's talk to the council and let them decide together, and then I give that information back to you all.
Right.
You know,
And
that's
I feel
what
like
they're asking
there's
the
some
most.
really good people here tonight that I feel like need to hear that, so this is that kind of time.
This is gonna be our last question. Okay, go
It's
ahead.
not so much a question as it is a statement. New to this community, not new to the state of Ohio. When you talk about transparency and you have these meetings, we get our water and sewer bills electronically. Real good way to advertise and let us know what's going on. You tell me transparency. I'd like to really be interested to see in this room, how many people go into the bank on a regular basis? How many people come into this library on a regular basis and read the bulletin board? How many people stand in front of the bulletin board in Miller's and read the postings? We live in an electronic age. If this council and this government is truly transparent, you should be communicating with us electronically. Otherwise, quite frankly, it does come across as very, very sneaky.
I would agree it's a kind of archaic way to let
Kind
everybody
of.
know. But I said, we can look into seeing I don't know what the rules are for providing notices electronically, and I'll have to look into that, 'cause I don't know.
We just need to start with a website so everybody can access it.
Some of
That's
that-
pretty simple.
Some of that is the state law, needs to be
And that's
amended.
fine, but there are a lot of other ways to communicate with your community, if you really want them to know.
Just, so,
There's easier way, there's a lot of people who don't got Facebook or get to the internet, there's gotta be a way. And those are the people that are asking those questions.
I want to
That's
add
the
one quick
minimum that
thing, our
needs to be
sewer
done.
rates went up without anything being posted on the village website. By law, they have to give 30 days notice. We did not get 30 days notice, like when the Ashery ditch, that levy went, or thing went through. They were quiet for 5 years, and all of a sudden it pops up on our taxes. We did not get no notice. 30 days notice is what, and I've worked with some people, and they say 30 days notice is what we're supposed to get for anything, any changes like that. We haven't gotten anything.
That was a county project.
They also charge us for that ditch, wherever they live along that
Yeah,
line.
well, I'm
I
just saying,
live there.
well, I
I
checked
live
with the
there
county
too.
website and I've talked to the county people, they don't have
They're charging
anything
us
on
for
there.
that. That's
And
not us.
but what I'm also saying though is that the rates for our sewers and our garbage went up. There was nothing on the village website about it, 30 days notice. I talked to Leanne, she said, well, she didn't know. She didn't know about it,
Well,
30 day
again, we're
notice.
talking to the state, if it's a state issue, Genoa is part of it, they should have somehow, some information to get back out to you.
Well,
Let you know what's
this is the
going
villages,
on.
this is a village,
That's right.
and it wasn't on the website, it wasn't on the county website, nothing.
I believe these two are gonna stick around too, so if
Okay,
you want to speak afterwards, we're just gonna go ahead and move on. Thank you both so much. Okay. Up next, we have our two candidates for Genoa council members. We do have a candidate who was unable to attend today, Ricky Pierce, but we do have Jacob Divert here today, so I'm gonna go ahead and invite him up. Okay, thank you.
Well, I assume nobody will have any questions, right? Brent and Ernie have those questions. Well, for those of you that do not know me, my name is Jacob Dibert. If you live in this town and you don't know me, I would like to apologize, because I've lived in this town for near 40 years. This will now be my third election. I'm unopposed, so I guess I can assume I'm gonna win this one. Here's hoping my wife votes for me. But this will be my third election that I've done, and I've done my best to try and get out and talk to as many people as physically possible. But I know I haven't reached out to everyone. So if you don't know me, I apologize, but I'll work my way there. So I'll tell you a little bit of kind of what I have done and what I plan on doing moving forward, kind of where my stance is on things. So when I came into council in 2016, I was put in charge of the utilities committee. For those of you that don't know, I have two uncles that recently retired from the village after 40 years working for the village. And so as a kid, I got the privilege of tailing them and seeing everything that went on with the utilities in this town long before I probably had permission to do that type of thing. Now I have permission, so now they can't hold anything back from me. So I got put in charge of utilities, and my first question was, well, what's wrong with utilities? What do I have to work on, right? So when I came in, we were roughly $250,000 behind the utility payments. So that was pretty simple to figure out. That was the first problem to take care of. That took the better part of 6 months of figuring out exactly where our utility debt was primarily housed, and how to amend our ordinances to basically allow us to collect that debt, because debt collection for a municipality is actually a lot tougher than you would assume. After all those efforts, and about a year or two of collection and whatnot, we were able to get that debt down to under $20,000. So I counted that as my first win, and I assumed I got to coast the rest of the time, but that didn't happen. So I'm still in charge of the utilities committee. So I've had some people reach out to me specifically about utility issues. Ashery ditch thing, I've had people reach out to me about Turtle Creek. That's not mine. Please don't ask me questions about it, I don't know about it. But I've been on that committee for a very long time, so I've been very involved with it. In fact, I've actually had the opportunity and the privilege to answer questions to our own council and mayoral people through the years on how our utilities are run in this town. And I know utilities are kind of a hot topic from time to time, so I'm the guy that probably want to yell at some of that. But anyhow, so after that, I turned my attention to the park. I have two young children, one of which for some reason wanted to be here, And so the playground's very important to me, right? So that's when I really found out about our general fund and how shorted we were with money to do capital improvements. First thing I really wanted to get done was the current park equipment was rusted, had holes in it. The kids weren't updated on their tetanus. I had worries about them even playing on it. So I took it upon myself to take some of the equipment apart. The machine shop here in town was nice enough to help repair some of that, paint some of it, free of charge. And then putting it back up was obviously a big thing too. Didn't really do too much. Unfortunately, it didn't make the change that I wanted. So then I started even smaller, and I started with, I just want more mulch, because there was a whole lot of grass through a lot of legwork. You know, we did get some mulch, but it wasn't enough. So the parks thing has always been a fight for me that I've been fighting for my entire time on council. And I will continue to fight for it, because parks, as Brent said, our park is a jewel of our community, and parks are extremely important. Let's see. One of the other issues that I came into was our police department at the time. Now this was back like 2017, 2018, was spending somewhere in the neighborhood of $550,000 of your tax dollars to do the job that most municipalities were doing for between $200,000 and $400,000. This was a conundrum to me. I do have a very brief background in law enforcement, so I kind of know the administrative side of it, considering I helped with that in Walbridge. So we kind of took on that battle. That was not the best battle of my life. At one point in time, there was, if any of you citizens remember, an attempt to do away with our reciprocity, to add an extra $375,000 to the pot for the police department. And I'm here to tell you that thank God that went down, because that was flat out wrong. And I'm glad the people that were pushing that are no longer pushing those types of things, or around to push things like that. Something like that I fought against very wholeheartedly. So we've now gotten the police department's budget intact. The police department does a very good job, and they do it well within the confines of what I would consider a reasonable budget. Now, do they have some work to do? I think we can all say that we all have a stone or two to cast from here or there, but sometimes it's easier to cast that stone from the outside. So I'm not a police officer, I'm not a police chief, and I'm not gonna say that I have all the answers for them. But I think right now we're on the right track for that. Let's see here. After the police department, it was working on enterprise funds. Enterprise funds are our water, sewer, and electric funds. Some of those looked okay, but unfortunately, as Brent and Ernie were getting questioned about, our electrical system is expensive, right? If you guys blow a breaker in your house, it's a quick trip to Menards or Lowe's or Home Depot to replace that breaker, if you're, I guess, electrical friendly. If not, it's a contractor to come in. The most recent large outage we had was 14 minutes, and that was because we have three 15,000 watt fuses, or I'm sorry, 15,000 amp fuses that blew all at once. They don't carry those at Menards. So thankfully, Kevin was here at the time as the administrator, and thankfully he was able to reach out to a Carver to get at least one to get this town back with power. We were able to get the rest overnighted after that. Those are not cheap fuses, but it's the cost of doing business, as they say. I didn't bring that with me. So our enterprise funds are definitely heading towards the right direction. I understand that has come with some increases. The benefit of small government is I live right here in this town, so every change that I make, I deal with as well, right? No change gets made without it affecting my household as well. Countless times I've talked to my wife about different things, and sometimes those conversations go well, sometimes they don't. But it is something I have to live with as well. And that's what I love most about small government is every decision I make directly impacts me and my family and my loved ones. So, enterprise funds are doing good. Capital improvement, as Brent talked about, I'm not gonna repeat everything he said. Streets and alleys and pavings, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's definitely on our short list of roads to manage and deal with. You know, we had to get the garbage trucks off the alleys so that those could stay nice. Obviously, we've done that. Some people supported that, some people didn't, but it was a decision that was better for the entire community as a whole. Park improvements, obviously, Brent took my playground statement away, but that's all right. You know, we do have new playground equipment. We've got that park bathroom coming in. We've got the bike trail that's continuing. We've got some other things already in the works for the park in regards to connecting paths and making it a much more, I guess, walkable park. Not only for those of us that are willing to walk through some of the muddy areas, but we're trying to make it all better so that everyone can walk around it and be nice. As I said, parks are kind of a thing of mine. I enjoy ours, and I think that it should look like a park. So one of the things I got to deal with shortly on the council was some people in charge thought that just putting more stone down made parks look nice. I don't know if you guys have ever played in the stone, but it's not fun. It's not enjoyable, right? So it was working to get our park back to a green space, and so that's going to be an ongoing thing as well. Excuse me. I wish I could stand here right now and tell you that all of this was because of me and thank God for me, right? Because it wasn't. It came with a lot of effort from the team. I've been through 3 mayors, 2 village administrators, a few different council members here and there, but nothing gets done without everyone involved, right? And that's imperative. So continuity and teamwork is really what has driven our village forward. In the coming future, so I can cut this off, I'm going to continue doing what I do. And that is that I actually make a concerted effort to be open and transparent with anybody and everybody. I see Pam and Tom Martin, first people in, my goodness, this will be 12 years for me. First people in 12 years that have ever just stopped by my house to talk to me about council matters or village matters. When they left, my wife was mad, but I was happy because for the first time, somebody took an invitation of the fact that, hey, I live at 4004 Dorset Court. I'm there most times, except between the hours of 5:30 and 4 where I'm at work. Feel free to stop in. I'm never usually doing anything too bad that I can't stop to talk to anybody and help answer any questions that you guys have. I will gladly give out my personal cell phone number in any forum, any given date or time. Feel free to give me a call or a text. My goal is exactly what Ernie talked about, is to continue talking to people and finding out exactly what people are worried about. You know, through talking to people, it was finding out that, you know, there was a stormwater issue over on, excuse me, by Mr. Best's house. What block of Wilson is it? 600, yes, 600 block. We've been working on that, and through engineers, and you know, that project started off as, that's gonna be like $5,000, no big deal, we'll knock it out. Now we start looking into it, and it's like, it's more like 25, might be 50, closer to the 80, now we gotta put it out to bid. No, now it might just be roots. So while the people that have lived there have been very patient through that process, it is something that has been continuously on my mind because I specifically talked to them about that issue, and so it meant something to me to get it completed to at least their satisfaction. So that's something that means a lot to me, is talking to people about these issues. I have a seriously weird love for this town in the fact that I will literally do pretty much anything for this town. I've lived here obviously my whole life, much like apparently everybody else that is running for office. I've done things, unpaid by the way, I've done things like, you know, during those bad snowstorms, I had the privilege of relieving our public works department for about 10 hours, where I took over helping snowplow with Thomas Bergman, so that the town was still staying open and clear while the public works was able to go home after a 26-hour shift and actually take care of their own driveways, get some rest, get some food, things like that. I've gone out in storms, helped pick up limbs. I chased down our American flag in front of the town hall during a storm because the rope broke. I will quite literally do just about anything. 2 quick things I do want to touch base on that were brought up here. Communication, absolute key. One of the biggest things about changing our billing system from a local handled thing to muni billing was, how do we get quarterly flyers out to everyone still? That wasn't a service they offered. They said they could do it, and it was going to be an astronomical charge, and that we felt as though it was asinine and unnecessary. So we're still working on that. I will tell you right now, and testify this in front of everybody, the Talk of Genoa is not the forum to communicate on. Let me say that again, the talk of Genoa is not the forum to communicate on. As long as, I guess unless you don't mind getting badgered by probably people who don't even live in this town. So do me a favor, don't waste your time texting out all those comments and messages and talk of Genoa. And take that time to stop up to council, email one of those council members, call one of those council members, stop by our houses, I don't care, communicate with us. Because communicating with us is how you actually get things done in this town. So once again, I live at 4004 Dorset Court. Please feel free to stop by any day that I'm home. My wife's not gonna like it, but that's okay. She's your local drug dealer, by the way, up there at Reading Pharmacy, so if she knows you when you stop by, you may hear about it next time you pick up your prescription. So, but thank you very much. I'm gonna continue working hard for this town in every capacity that I physically possibly can, until I can't any longer, until I guess I get booted out, or they put on a term limit. So, but thank you very much.
Did anyone have any questions for Jacob?
Just one quick one.
Yes, sir.
I should know this.
Okay.
The park levy that we're voting on, is that money separate or is that just going to general fund?
You're talking about the county park,
The park levy that we're voting on, the renewal,
the renewal. Is that going to the what?
is that a separate fund or does that go into the general fund?
That funds the park. I'm trying to remember if it's the small one or the big one. I think, as you may know, we have two separate ones because we, years ago, misaligning them. So one of them is a smaller one that funds operation, and one of them funds more of improvements, things like that.
So it's separate funds, it's not in the general fund?
Correct. It should all, I believe it's the one that goes all to the operation of the park. So things like the quarry, and the maintenance of the park itself. So.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
So are you saying there's two park funds?
There's two park levies that, and I don't remember which one is up. That's why I'm trying to recall that. Because, once again, long story short, government is weird. It is what it is. But if we were to just, okay, let's kind of combine all this, we would actually end up missing funding for, I believe, a year, maybe 2 years, misfunding the park completely, so that we can realign all these, the park levies. So we do have like a bigger one and a smaller park levy, and that's why you see park levies so much more frequent in Genoa. So.
I do have a question real quick. So
Yes,
the
ma'am.
grant that we just received for the park,
Yes, ma'am.
what
Which
is-
one?
Well,
Playground, bathroom,
the playground
bike trail?
one.
Okay.
Okay, so that's just for the playground.
Yes, ma'am.
The grant, or the, oh my gosh. My words are wrong. The levy that's up is for the whole
Operation.
thing. Okay.
Operation, yep.
I just
So-
wanted to make that clear, because some
Yep.
people have questioned.
Thank you, yes, because, so Game Time Playground Equipment, is a nationwide playground equipment company, and they put on a grant every single year. It's a grant I've known about for 8 years. And we've been trying for, but we haven't really had the funds up until now to get what I feel as though is a worthwhile investment. Game Time is who the grant is actually through, so it's technically a privately funded grant, but that's how we were able to make that happen. So,
This one just says renewal for the tax, or a tax for the benefit of the Village of Genoa Parks and Recreation purposes, that the county auditor estimates will collect $29,000 at a rate,
That's the small one.
Okay.
Right, that's the
That's the
small
one
one.
that's up this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
just to clarify that.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, I forgot which one it was. Anything else? All right,
Wonderful, thank you.
thank you all.
I know I mentioned to a few people that this would be recorded. We did attempt to do Facebook Live, but my very hot phone died. So Nathan is filming and he will stitch those together and hopefully it will be uploaded either tomorrow or Friday for you all to share with your Facebook friends or on your Facebook page.
Not to talk to you.
Not that. Probably won't post it. All right. Yeah. So this year we have 3 candidates running for 2 open seats for the Genoa Area School Board of Education. Mark Morrison could not be here with us today, but he did submit a letter, and I did staple that to the outline, so please be appraised of that. Go ahead and read it. So up first we have Thomas L. Cashin III.
Just need to stand past. Excuse me. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. A little slow in getting here, but I'm here. Thank you very much for everybody coming out. For those who don't know me, my name's Tom Cash. I'm running for school board. A little bit about me. My whole family has been in Genoa forever. I went to Lake, but I came back here after I got out of the Navy and finished my education. I have a bachelor's degree in nuclear engineering from Rensselaer Polytechnic, but I'm a disabled vet right now. My entire adult life has been committed to service to God, community, and country. I'm active in our church. I've been a member of the stewardship committee for the last 12 years. We have a golf outing that I've pretty much organized and run every year. I'm a disabled vet. I'm an active member of the American Legion, the VFW, the VBA, the DAV. I am an Ottawa County Veteran Service Commissioner. I'm a member of the Masons here in Genoa, but I'm also a former member of the Genoa School Board. I was elected in 2017, so I served 18, 19, 20, and 21. I did not run for re-election at that time. I kind of needed to recharge my batteries after the levy issues and the COVID issues. I stepped away for 2 years to kind of regroup and kind of observe what was going on in the community. Well, like I said, I recharged my batteries and I'm back. So I look forward to going forward and serving another 4 years. So that's pretty much all I have to say right now, and in a few minutes, hopefully there's other questions. Actually I do have a few more things to say. Our school is a great school. Our teachers, our faculty, our staff, we get a lot of criticism. We have in the past, but we operate within the confines of a very, very tight budget. It's been discussed over and over, that we are a very, tax burdened community. We don't have the industry to support, we don't have First Solar, we don't have the Levis Commons, we don't have the industry that supports our schools. We have a lot of farmland, we have a lot of residential neighborhoods that have to support our school district because the state doesn't. Mr. Rogers earlier had talked about how the city schools were underfunded. Our school actually receives less funding from the state than we did 15 years ago. And, things like that cause our community, our teachers go out and get grants. Our treasurer is fantastic. They are able to operate a fantastic school system within very, very, very tight budget constraints. And, part of the time that I was on the school district, or the school board rather, we were going through very difficult levy, bringing it forward to the public. And that's difficult for anybody to have to do. And it's very difficult to have to ask a community that supports our schools so well to keep doing it. And our budget is tight, but there is, people talk about transparency. Our school district is and will always be transparent. Our school, the board meetings were online for the longest time. Our school district, the books, anybody can go in at any time and talk to Bill about what's going on with the budget. Our district is fantastic and I hope that you folks will see it prudent to put me back on so I can help maintain the level of education that our kids deserve. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.